Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Gwei Refuel, where I recap the latest news in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and today's the 20th of July, 2021. Alright everyone, let's get into it. So, StatefulWorks has announced their EIP 1559 supporter and patron NFTs. So, these NFTs have been made with direct input from EIP 1559 contributors. All proceeds will go directly to them in celebration of their work, and the design is being done by my good friend Kite here. So, these NFTs will be on sale tomorrow, July 21st. Not sure on the exact time here, but yeah, there's the date. And essentially, as I said, like all the, proceeds raised from this NFT will go to the people mentioned here and, you know, a bunch of others here. Basically, all the ones that made 1559 happen and possible and worked on it and got it to mainnet, which is really, really cool. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys had seen this. I think it was a couple months ago maybe, where Crypto Cobain suggested this on Twitter, saying that there should be NFTs or limited edition NFTs around 1559, and all the money should go to the supporters. So it's cool to see this come to life. I can't wait to get my hands on one or two or three or however many there are of these sorts of things. I think there's maybe two of them. I definitely really want to kind of make my mark in Ethereum history here, and I'm sure you all do as well. So definitely keep an eye on the StatefulWorks Twitter account. It'll probably, it may or may not be live by the time I've done tomorrow's refuel. But yeah, as I said, it is going live July 21st. If I had to assume, I would probably say, in the US, maybe it'd be around midday or something like that. But I'm not sure. I'm sure they'll announce a time when it's all ready to go. So another kind of, I guess, weaker day in the crypto markets today. ETH is in the 1700s again. Everyone is kind of like, I guess, coping on Twitter. And it's always funny whenever I see the price go down really quickly, and then I go on Twitter and everyone's kind of putting out cope tweets and hilarious tweets. And, you know, today I put out a little tweet where I said, $1,559 by 1559 may come true after all, which is a kind of meme that formed around, obviously, EIP 1559 and the price of ETH. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen or not. I mean, I don't really care either way, but what I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit was this notion of like shared pain or shared cope within the crypto ecosystem whenever the price goes down. Now, I wrote a little bit more about this in the Daily Gwei newsletter today, but I kind of like give a high level summary here. Essentially, it's just really funny to see. As I said, when the price goes down, everyone jumps on Twitter and starts kind of like coping together. And you have like two very distinct communities. You have the OGs who have been around for a while, who have been around for like a cycle or two and have experienced the volatility and are all okay with that. And then you have the newer investors who you can tell are new because they're like scared, they're like frightened, they're like looking for reassurances from the OGs and from traders and all this sort of stuff to make them, you know, feel better about themselves and their investments and make them feel better about not having sold or whatever. Anything like that. I obviously, like, everyone starts out like that. I mean, I was like that back in the earlier days before I guess survived the last crypto bear market and things like that. And it's just like, the fact that we have that kind of, I guess, bonding within the crypto community, I think is very important. Not just important from, I guess, community building perspective, but also important to kind of keep people, I guess, involved and like stay within the ecosystem and to, I guess, reassure them. Because at the end of the day, reassuring someone of something or just feeding them some kind of like, I guess, hopium or whatever isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think that at the end of the day, we all want someone to tell us that everything's going to be okay, right? And, you know, even if we know that they don't know exactly what they're talking about and they can't guarantee us that everything's going to be okay, still being able to learn from those who have experienced these things and lived through them is always a positive. And I don't want to focus kind of like too much on this, but I think generally, if you're around now and you're maybe newer to the ecosystem, I just focus on the technology at times like these. And generally, I mean, I encourage people to focus on the technology at all times and try not to stare at the price all the time, but it's hard. I mean, I say that and I stare at the price every day. Not stare at it, but I check the price every day. And obviously, I still feel the emotions when there's volatility in the markets and things like that. But focusing on it when you've literally got no control over it, it's counterintuitive, right? Like, whereas with technology, with the technology side of it and the fundamental side of it, you do have control of it. You can get involved with a crypto project. You can work for a crypto project. You can do educational content. You can contribute value in tons of different ways. Whereas at the markets, unless you're like a big fund that is trading with like hundreds of millions of dollars, or maybe tens of millions, depending on what coin you're trading, you really have no direct impact on what the market's going to do. And even then, you don't really have much of an impact either. Like, generally, there's not really one person or group that can control the markets. There are whales, of course, and things like that. But generally, like, regular people are not going to be able to affect the market in any which way directly with their money. But the way that you actually do over the longer term affect the markets is by educating. I actually think a lot of us that educated and stayed the course with Ethereum during 2018 and 2019 is a big reason why Ethereum is still kind of like around today and still has such big legitimacy. And it's not just us educators, it's the builders and the developers and everything like that. They are the I guess backstop of the long-term value, where the short-term value gets sucked out of the air because of the fact that the speculators are gone and the traders are gone, and the retail investors are gone, and all of those sorts of things. And then you're left with the fundamentalists, the developers, the educators, the builders, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, just a little bit of a comment on that. I think at this point in time, it's people are like, okay, are we in a long-term bear market? Are we not? And everyone's asking these questions. And I know people are looking for reassurances. I can't offer you any kind of like reassurances. I can't tell you when we're going to start going up again or if we're going to continue going down. I honestly do not know. And anyone who says that they know is lying. They don't know. No one knows. But what I can tell you is that just based on like everything that I see, both I guess what I cover on the refuel and what I see in the background, there has been no slowdown of development within this Ethereum ecosystem. Their builders are still building as fast as they are. Teams are still raising money and hiring. I mean, the hiring is going crazy right now. And there's still plenty of this stuff kind of happening. So when you look at the price, and I discussed this yesterday, and you look at the fundamentals and you see that massive disconnect, don't be fooled into thinking that it's going to have any bearing on the short to medium term, but it definitely has a massive bearing over the long term. And I believe that if you really do care about this technology and you want to be more involved in this ecosystem, and you're more of a kind of like a person that is patient and a longer term investor, well, I mean, leaving at this point in time is probably the worst thing you could do. So stick around, have fun, stop staring at charts. I mean, I've been trying to teach myself to stop looking at the price every day, but it's incredibly hard, especially if you go on Twitter and you can kind of tell the mood of the market depending on what the tweets are. Because if the market's crashing, you'll see cope tweets. If the market's going up, you'll see like people saying like, I told you so, and like, we're going back up. And then you'll see people like bagging the bulls saying, oh, if the bulls are happy over a 2% move up, even though we just dropped like 50%. So, I know it's very, very hard to get away from market action, but trying to detach yourself from that is I think, incredibly healthy, especially if you find yourself just spending too much time looking at it and getting down about it, because it does kill your motivation for things, I think, at the end of the day. All right, so Superphiz put out a couple of tweets that I wanted to cover today. But the first one he said was, do you want Ethereum to become a more valuable and secure ecosystem? If so, you should promote the development of open source tools that enable staking with a graphical user interface, or GUI, using any client. This is what people are begging for, and it benefits all of us. Forget about tools developed for third-party profit. Now, to put this in, I guess, simpler terms, essentially what I was talking about, I think I was talking about this on the refuel the other day. I've been talking about this with a lot of different people lately, is essentially this client centralization that we're seeing within ETH2, where the Prism client essentially accounts for, I think, 75 or 80% of the network right now, when we have three other perfectly good clients to choose from, those being Lighthouse, Teku, and Nimbus. Lighthouse is at second place, Teku's third place, and Nimbus is fourth place. And I think the reason, I guess there's a few different reasons for that. Obviously, Prism is the most well-known, there's the most awareness around that. They have been around for a very long time, and people just latched onto them, and they've got like a really great client, and they've got a really nice graphical user interface that's kind of like built into it and things like that. But their client, I mean, I wouldn't say is like leaps and bounds better than every other client out there. There's no reason why you shouldn't be using other clients. And I would actually encourage you that if you're using Prism, to switch to one of the other clients, because you'd be helping network decentralization. But at the end of the day, all the clients should be on par in terms of like ease of use to set up, or kind of having a graphical user interface. Because if they aren't, then people are just going to go with the path of least resistance, which is right now Prism. We can see that obviously playing out in the network kind of metrics. So I'm glad Superphiz is raising more awareness about this. And for those who don't know, Superphiz is very, very heavily involved in the staking side of Ethereum. He's part of the ETH Staker Discord. He pretty much runs all of that, I think, or at least is a core contributor to that. So he definitely knows more about this than I do. And if he's calling for this, I mean, I would listen for sure. And I mean, I've been kind of like discussing this as well in the refuel, but it's good to see that There's more of a push here. And then he had a second tweet where he says that he's proposing a challenge for the Ethereum builder community, or the developer community. By December 1st, 2021, distribute a desktop-based staking UI that can run all 4 Genesis clients and switch between them easily, not necessarily quickly though. Let's backward plan this and get it done. Sam, can you PM? So I guess like essentially he's putting a call to action out there that he wants someone to come up with a very nice little app you can run on Windows or Linux or Mac OS or whatever, where you can have access to all of the 4 clients that I just mentioned, and you can quickly, not quickly switch between them, but like easily switch between them if you want to, and have like a whole monitoring dashboard and things like that. And that's critical. I mean, we need someone to build that. So if that sounds like something you want to do, the funny thing is that you can get funding for this because you just have to apply for a grant either at the Ethereum Foundation or somewhere else. And there's plenty of grant programs out there, and you'll get funding for it if this is something you want to build. So, I mean, if you're interested in this, you can definitely PM Superphiz here to get more color around this and maybe get some help on this. I don't think it would be a one-person job. I think it's definitely something for a team to handle. But it's definitely very important because we don't want, as much as I love the Prylabs team, as much as I love the Prism client, we don't want them being 80% of the network forever. We want it to be a more even split. Like I'd be happy with like even at a 50% Prism, and then like 50% the other clients, if that's what we had to do. But 80% or 75, 80% being one client, it doesn't even matter if it's Prism or another client, is not the ideal healthy scenario. And I guess like I should explain why. I mean, the major reason is because if there's a major bug in Prism and that causes all the Prism nodes to go offline, well, that's 80% of the network gone, just gone. Not nodes, validators. That's 80% of the validators gone, which means that the chain would halt because there's not enough to finalize. And it could lead to like slashing and people going offline, everything like that. And losing rewards and stuff like that, and the chain halting is not good, obviously. So I mean, I shouldn't say chain halting. I should say it's not finalizing, which is we want it to be finalizing for a bunch of different reasons I won't go into now. But essentially, it's not healthy at all. So if you're running Prism right now, I encourage you to switch over if you can. If it's not a massive hassle for you to do so, and if you're staking through a provider who's using Prism, I would encourage you to basically email them or talk to them and be like, hey, you should change from Prism to something else because of these reasons that I just outlined. Basically, it's not healthy for the network. So yeah, great. I'm very grateful to Superphiz for kind of raising awareness around this. I think it's a very important issue, and I think that we need more eyeballs on it. So a new Flashbots research post was put out today, which basically covers MAV and EIP 1559. So this was written by, I think, Alejo, I think that's how you say his name here, and Christoph here, where they share reflections on how MAV and the new fee mechanism with 1559 interact. In the post, they discussed miner economics and how they changed after the London fork, the coexistence of several different auction mechanisms in Ethereum, and Flashbots ethics. And they've also got a talk happening at FCC here, which you can kind of tune into as well, from the Flashbots crew there. So, I mean, I highly recommend going and checking out this blog post, giving it a read, kind of going over it, and seeing what they're discussing here, because this is obviously going to become very important post 1559. They've got a bunch of fancy math and calculations in here, but for the most part, it's pretty easy to understand. At least it was for me. Maybe it's not going to be easy to understand for you if you don't have the relevant context. But I've covered Flashbots and MEV enough on the refuel that I think by now a lot of you will understand at least what it is, and you can dive into this kind of post and kind of read through here. But generally, if you actually want to learn more about MEV, there was a resource kind of put out here by Troy today called Awesome MEV Resources, which basically have links to different kind of articles, podcasts, research posts, all these sorts of things that you can check out to learn more about MEV in general. So definitely go check this out if you want to learn more, and then you can kind of read this MEV and EIP 1559 post to learn more about MEV in a 1559 world. So the MakerDAO growth team here announced that the DAI token bridge on Optimism has been launched. So I covered this DAI token bridge a while ago on the refuel, I think when it was first announced, and I discussed how this was a way to get around the 7-day withdrawal period with Optimism, where you could basically have a bridge between Optimism and Ethereum mainnet that had liquidity providers sitting in the middle, and you could kind of like bridge or DAI that way. Now, I I mean, from memory, I think that's how it worked. They kind of like break it down here in this image where essentially you'd be able to mint F die. Now I think this worked a little bit differently, where you could basically mint like an F die representation of your kind of die, and then get that on layer 1 while your layer 2 withdrawal was pending and stuff like that. But I don't think that this is. I actually don't. I think the wording's a little bit confusing here, but I don't think that this kind of like relay is what's been deployed just yet. I think what has been deployed is basically just a token bridge from mainnet DAI to optimistic Ethereum DAI, which you can access at gateway.optimism.io, rather than I guess the 1 week kind of like withdrawal delay bridge, which is going to come a little bit later. I think that's what's going on here. Now, if I go to the forum post, maybe I'll be able to find out a little bit more here quickly. Yeah, no, I think this is just about them launching DAI on Optimism rather than launching the kind of like with the immediate withdrawals feature, which I'm assuming is going to come later. Yeah, I'm just reading through this here. Yeah, I think this is definitely going to come later when they launch that kind of like FDI bridge there. But still, cool to see the Maker team jumping on Optimism here. I'm sure they're going to be doing the same for Arbitrum and other layer 2 solutions as well. And great to see kind of the support coming from MakerDAO here. So Lido's referral program has been launched. So you can now earn rewards for spreading the benefits of staking ETH with Lido. Now, you can go read the details of this. It'll be linked in the YouTube description. You can basically earn LDO tokens for referring people. But what I wanted to discuss, not so much about this specific referral program, but just referral programs within crypto in general. There's not enough of them, right? Like when you think about it, referral programs are basically made for crypto at the end of the day, because you can do very simple payments and very easy payments to people's Ethereum addresses for doing referrals. And I mean, from the Web 2 world, referrals work really, really well. It's a really great way to bootstrap growth and to get more people using your app and things like that. And I'm surprised we haven't seen more of it within the crypto ecosystem, and especially within DeFi. Now, I think that's because everyone became obsessed with liquidity mining programs, because that was a much faster way to get, I guess, like users and liquidity into your system, but it was fleeting. Like if you look at a lot of the liquidity mining programs that happen with a lot of the new DeFi apps, basically a lot of the liquidity came really quickly, and then once the rewards kind of ran out or the token price dumped, which it inevitably did for most of these projects, the liquidity left. So I think that referral programs enable you to kind of like get more of those longer lasting users than something like liquidity mining. But I think that is the main reason why we haven't seen more of these programs launched. It's simply because the liquidity mining was a shortcut. It was easier to bootstrap liquidity through that and bootstrap users through that. But again, it wasn't a long-term thing. So I'm sure we'll see more of the kind of like top DeFi apps tap into this, especially as we get more of a bridge into the Web 2 kind of like I guess, normie world of things, where we have these wallets sitting on top of something like Aave or Compound or whatever, or Uniswap, and then you have these apps say, okay, well, here's a referral program to use all of these apps, and you know, you can earn some tokens, blah, blah, blah. Or, I mean, there's the possibilities are endless here with these kind of programs, but I just think that we should be seeing more of these. And if you're, you know, you should encourage your favorite project that you're following to do a referral program, or suggest one in one of their governance forums, because at the end of the day, I think the bang for your buck of a referral program is better than liquidity mining, especially over the long term. And I think that it's a really easy way to get people that maybe aren't even in crypto into it, into these kind of apps. And if you look at kind of something like PayPal as a clear example here, they had a, I don't know if it was a referral program, but they had an initiative really early on in PayPal's life where they basically gave, I think it was $10 to every new user that signed up. And that got them a lot of users because there was free $10 to be made, right? I mean, and we've seen this play out with liquidity mining where it's like, okay, and airdrops as well. It's like, okay, well, you know, come get your, I guess like your airdrop and all's well and good. But the problem with airdrops is the fact that you don't have to do anything to get the airdrop. A lot of the airdrops that you get airdropped a token for either using the app once or using a bunch of other apps, and then you just claim it and then you sell it, and you don't really come back and use the app or anything like that. Whereas I think with something like what PayPal did, I think you had to use the money within their platform, and it got more people to sign up, and kind of like they had them on their books and things like that, and they collected their emails. I guess you can't really do that with Web3 and Ethereum and stuff like that. But still, I think referral programs is just like a no-brainer, and I hope to see more of it in the crypto space going forward. So the Polygon ecosystem has announced the launch of a new initiative called Polygon Studios, which is a brand new arm for blockchain gaming and NFT ecosystems. They aim to serve as a bridge between the Web 2 and Web 3 world. Now, if you go to the site, there's not much kind of like on there just yet. There's if it wants to load, there's a form where you can put your email in to stay up to date, but they've got a bunch of partners that they've already onboarded. And these are big partners. They have Atari, Anamonica Brands, they have OpenSea, obviously, is the crypto marketplace. They have Decentraland, the Sandbox, a bunch of other ones here. And I just think this is really cool because Polygon is actually been really cool, or at least the POS chain has been a really cool kind of place for NFTs and crypto gaming to proliferate because in my view, I actually think sidechains are best purposed for gaming within crypto because, and maybe even NFTs, because a lot of the NFTs and gaming stuff, they're not high value things. You need them, you want them to be able to interact with the rest of the crypto ecosystem, but it's not like you need the ultra decentralized and ultra secure Ethereum chain to kind of like, I guess, be your bedrock for all of this sort of stuff, especially if you need massive sorts of scale here. Now, I know that there are different paths being taken here. Immutable X is a layer 2 on Ethereum that's built on ZK rollups that's taking this path of inheriting Ethereum security for NFTs. And I think that's great. And I think it's sorely needed. And I love that. But the actual games themselves, if you want to have them decentralized or have them at least kind of like decentralized as much of the gameplay as possible, then I think having them on a sidechain makes the most amount of sense. And having that sidechain commit its state to Ethereum, kind of like what Polygon does, makes it just, it still secures it and it still lets you kind of like recreate the state if something happens. And, we've seen games do this already, like not on Polygon, but Dark Forest was on XDAI, and I think they're probably moving across to Polygon, but they were on XDAI, and there's more of these blockchain games kind of popping out where everything's on chain, where it can be truly kind of like on chain without any kind of like centralized servers in the background running the game and just having the NFTs on chain. So I think that NFTs being secured by layer 2 is really fascinating, really cool, but the actual games themselves can be done on sidechains, and I think that's actually perfectly fine. So I'm glad to see Polygon kind of like spinning up a studio that's going to be funding this, and there's a bit more information in the tweet thread here about what they're kind of aiming for, but I think this is really cool to see and makes a ton of sense, for the Polygon ecosystem. So I wanted to highlight this blog post from Blocknative, which is called ETH Gas 101, an introduction to Ethereum gas for traders and builders. Now, disclosure here, I'm an advisor to Blocknative, but I've spoken about them before and about what products they offer and about how they're basically the masters of the Ethereum mempool. They offer a bunch of different mempool monitoring products as well as different gas kind of like monitoring, estimating, products like that, all that sort of good stuff there. But essentially what they do in this blog post is exactly what the title says. They give an introduction to gas and then go over how it can like benefit traders and builders. So if you fall into either of those categories, you should definitely check out this blog post. But if you just generally want more knowledge about how the gas market kind of works and how it kind of works for different types of people within the ecosystem, you should go give this a read as well. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to that post there. So another thing that just came across my radar only about like half an hour ago, I completely missed this, was basically this boot camp for smart contract security auditing that is being kind of like put together by Secureum here. So it's funded by the Ethereum Foundation's Ecosystem Support Program and sponsored by partnerships with Consensus Audits, Sigma Prime, which develops the Lighthouse Ethereum 2 client, and Trail of Bits, which is a very famous auditing firm within a smart contract auditing firm within Ethereum. So you can apply. I think there's 100 spots available for this. So if you're interested in smart contract security auditing and want to get involved there, then this bootcamp is for you. Now, let me tell you that if you are interested in this sort of stuff and you've been looking for, I guess, a way in, this is probably one of the best ways into it. And on top of that, smart contract auditing pays very, very well. So if that's something you're also interested in, which I'm sure you are, then you should definitely check this out. It's not for everyone, of course. It is definitely not an easy thing to do. And if you want to become like one of the best auditors, is definitely something that requires a lot of education and patience and kind of like iteration. But I think doing this kind of this boot camp will actually help you along with that journey and allow you to kind of bootstrap your kind of like security auditing skills. So the applications are kind of like open until 1st of August, I believe. And this first kind of like epic will run from October to December 2021. So you can apply at this form here. Of course, it'll be linked in the YouTube YouTube description, and they kind of give some details here about why you should apply. As I said, you can learn smart contract auditing, you can leap from Web 2 to Web 3, you can switch if you're a developer to security, you can scale Ethereum security and grow a vibrant community. So as I said, it's a 3-month boot camp. It's free, limited to 100 selected participants. Its focus is on Ethereum smart contract security auditing and all the topics that go along with that. And this is how it's kind of like structured: the learn phase, reading videos, quizzes, assignments, and more. 10 to 20 hours per week minimum. So this obviously is not something that's just a casual thing. You will need to commit that kind of timeline there. And then the audit phase in December will evaluate the projects, and you'll have interviews with sponsored partners as well. And anyone can apply here. I mean, there's no kind of strict criteria over this or anything like that. So yeah, definitely go apply if this seems like something that you might be interested in. I think this is maybe the first boot camp I've seen around security auditing on Ethereum. I'm not sure if there's been other ones, but this is definitely the biggest one that I've seen. And the fact that it's being supported by such great teams it means it's going to be awesome, I reckon, because you're going to have, people from all over these kind of teams helping, making sure that you get the right information, making sure that they answer kind of like all your questions in a very speedy and kind of like accurate way, which I think is more important than anything, really. So yeah, definitely go check this out if you haven't already. All right, so last up here, I've got a quick shout out for Prylabs. They are still hiring for security and quality assurance kind of engineers here. So if you're interested in building the future of Ethereum, you can DM Terrence here on Twitter, or you can go to the prismaticlabs.com/careers webpage here to view their open positions. So they're actually still hiring for other open positions, including a front-end software engineer, a Go security engineer, and a software development engineer in test as well. So you can click on these and read what it's all about and kind of like what the requirements are and things like that. Honestly, if I was a developer, I would be, this is definitely one of the teams that would be at the top of my list for ones that I want to work for. I couldn't think of anything better than working on Ethereum 2.0 kind of like client software and doing all that sorts of stuff and everything that entails, because you really are building the future of Ethereum and you're on the kind of cutting edge here. So yeah, I mean, if that was me, I would definitely be applying for it. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that for today's episode, give you guys back a little bit of time. So thank you everyone for listening and watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Give that video a thumbs up, subscribe to the newsletter, join the Discord channel, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Thanks everyone.